Hi guys, it's Miss Natascha from the Quincy Public Library, and today we are going to be making these fun Jello worms. They are disgustingly delicious looking. These I made with 2 different kinds of Jello because I just used whatever Jello was on hand. So we're gonna go over, for the ingredients you need, it's recommended 2 packages of raspberry Jello. You just wanna make sure it is the 3 ounces. On hand we had peach and orange, so we're just gonna see how it turns out. This one I used raspberry and orange, I believe. I mixed them together, and then I did 15 drops of the green food coloring. And this one I used 2 packages of cherry and did 12 drops of food coloring. So as you see, they didn't turn out as brown. So then you will need 1 package of unflavored gelatin. You find this in the same aisle as the Jello. You will need straws. It says 100. I could not fit 100 in my jar. You want to do it pretty tight. You want a tall mason jar. You can also use, if you could get like a 1 quart like milk carton or juice carton. I don't buy mine in those cartons, but you could use that too, cleaned out. You'll need a measuring cup, boiling water. I just ran ours through hot water. You need about 3 cups of boiling water for this. And you will need heavy whipping cream, which I left in the refrigerator, and a 4th measuring cup, a spoon, and then the food coloring. So the first part is we're gonna mix our 2 Jello packages together with 1 package of the unflavored gelatin. And that is just to give the worm some more firmness. They're both 3 ounces, but boy, the peach just seems like it has so much more in it. So I'm really curious to see how these colors turned out. I'll try to add a photo later because I already did a video showing you how to get them out from the ones I already made. I wanted to make sure they worked. You want a tall jar or mason jar. The brown worms came out a little bit smaller just because the jar was smaller, so you couldn't put as much of the mixture into it. So we're gonna mix these all up, get them all mixed together. And then we are going to add 3 cups of boiling water, and it smells so good. So I have a 2 cup measuring cup here, so we'll do. So little kids, obviously this is when you will let your parents take over and pour it in. And really, I mean, if you want the worms to be realistic looking, is where you're gonna wanna use that raspberry or like a red Jello. But if you're just wanting to make some fun, like creepy, you know, colorful Jello worms, you can use any color. So you're gonna mix this up, stir it really well, and then you are going to let it cool to room temperature. So we'll put this off to the side. I did about 15 minutes. I just set my timer on my phone for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna look at the clock here. So I got some clumps in here, so you just wanna make sure you get them all out. Again, we want the mixture here to be at room temperature before we add the food coloring and the whipping cream. And it's nice if you have a measuring cup like this, or you can use something else with a spout, because that's gonna make it easier when we transfer the worms, or the liquid into the straws. Okay, so we're gonna put that to the side. So while that is getting to room temperature, this is when we're gonna stack our jar. So you're gonna get your straws, and we're gonna fill this as tight as we can. You wanna make sure that you pull the straws up so we get that cool design there on our worm. So you're gonna pull those all up. And then I put my straws in upside down because I was worried this way that the Jello wouldn't go all the way up, and I really wanted that detail on our worms to make them more realistic. So I put the top of the straw down on the bottom. So we're just gonna fill our jar up. So depending on what size container you use may use 100, you may use less than 100. I think one jar I used probably about 75 straws, I would say, because I had some left over. So, and it also really depends on the size of your straw. I feel like these straws are a little bit smaller than the other ones that I had. But you want to get them tight so that way the Jello stays inside the worms when you move them in there. So I'm gonna keep filling this up. We're gonna just stop the video because you guys don't really need to watch me pull all 100 of these apart. I will see you guys in a second when we add more to the mixture. All right guys, so we've let our Jello and gelatin mixture sit for about 15 minutes so it gets to room temperature. So now we are going to add the food coloring and the whipping cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the 15 drops of food coloring because that's what I did where I got the more pink color worms, though I'm not sure how these are gonna turn out because I'm using more orange Jello. But so 12 to 15 drops of the food coloring. All right, got the 15 in there, so we're gonna stir it, mix those colors up. I feel like these worms are gonna definitely look more greeny, but you never know once we add the whipping cream in. All right, so now we're gonna add 3/4 whipping cream. I'm gonna use a 1/4 one just so I have this ready because I'm actually going to pour the mixture into here to make it easier to fill our straws. And I didn't say this before because I didn't think about it, but it does help to have something underneath your mason jars. It does get a little messy. I did spill some, especially when you're trying to get the straws on the end. And as you see, I got our straws filled. It is really tight in here. I got them as tight as I could, so you will get some Jello along the sides, and you can just scoop that out and have people just eat that, or you can eat it. So 3/4 of our heavy whipping cream. There should be exactly 3/4 in here because I measured it out because I took some home last night to make the other. Oh yeah, these are definitely gonna be greeny. Give that a good stir. Yeah, these are definitely gonna be some green worms, and that's okay, I'm okay with that. Again, it all depends on what color Jello you use. It does recommend using raspberry because that is gonna be the darker pink color, but it all depends on how realistic you want it. So again, to make it easier to fill our jar here, I'm going to pour the mixture into here, the measuring cup. As you see, Miss Natascha is messy. I can't fit it all, so I'll just add the rest when I empty this. And then you're just going to pour the mixture into straws. This is a bigger mason jar, so I was able to use the whole mixture to fill it up. When I used a smaller one, I had a lot left over. I probably could have done 2 jars. So it really just depends on how big your jar is. And I do think that the Jello does kind of move up into the straws when if it's able to as well when it's setting. Just kind of turn it around so I can get some of these ones on the edge, which is where I make my mess. So when you put it in your fridge, do your parents a favor, make sure it's sitting on something so, you know, they don't get dyed colors. I put mine in like a bowl, the jar in a bowl. this one, I don't know why it's thicker. We'll just keep going. Oops. And then you're gonna wanna put this in your fridge for a couple hours for the Jello to set. I say give it 24 hours. I put mine in last night around, I would say 6 or 7, and I did them at 11 today. So, you just want to be able to set. All right, guys, and then you will join me in a minute and I will show you how I got these out of the jars. So, lovely, lovely worms. All right, guys, so it's time to get the straws out. So as you see, this is what it kind of looks like. I know this is part of the milk or the heavy cream that we used. So if you used a milk carton, like a, quart milk carton or whatever, you're lucky because you can just peel away. This one, it can be a little tricky to get out. As you see, here are some worms I had done earlier, but my straws were a little smaller. Look how disgustingly wonderful these look. So it is a little difficult to get your first straw out. I'm wearing gloves because I'm hoping that maybe some staff members will be brave and try the worms. So there are a couple of different ways that you can get them out. You can just do the squeezing method. The person I got the idea from used a rolling pin. Let's see. And I used a different kind of Jello. So this one doesn't, I did 12 drops of food coloring with this one, so it may not have been as much. See, these ones are a little darker. I also used 2 raspberry Jellos for this one. I can't remember the kinds I used for these. So the color will depend on how much food coloring you use and what kind of Jello you use, but they still look disgustingly wonderful. You can also get the straws. I got them wet, but if you do that, like I ran kind of hot water over them, but you gotta be ready because they come out super quick. So you wanna make sure that you have, your bowl or whatever you're gonna catch the worms with under there, because they slide out super duper quick. So, oops, I did not do a very good job with that one. So, but yeah, pick whatever method works for you. And I got these in really tight, and of course my hands are really slimy, so maybe having a paper towel close by is a good idea. Yeah, so see, this one got really far up in there, so hopefully. And like I said, I didn't run the water inside the straws, I just ran them on the outside of the straw. I was kind of trying to clean up the, it's not coming out very well, is it? Maybe we can move over to the sink and I can show you how quick they come out that way. I'm also wanting to keep it, oops. So gross. Look at that disgusting, nice, wiggly worm. All right. Trying to think, I don't even think I'll be able to get a good view over there by our sink. So, like I said, when you do the hot water, you can just run hot water over the straws. And like I said, they came out so quick. I'm gonna do a quick pause. I'm gonna get a couple wet and show you. I'm not gonna take you over to the sink because it's a really tight spot, but I'll show you how they already start moving out. All right, guys, so these I went over to the sink. I kind of rinsed them with some hot water and gonna make a liar out of me. I did take these right out of our fridge, so our fridge gets super cold. So I didn't have to struggle as much. I don't have a rolling pin here at the library, or I would show you with a rolling pin, which was another suggestion. Oh, see, that went so quick. Let me do it up higher. of these. Ooh, that got more cream in it. So Miss Corrine tried the brown ones off camera and she said that they were good. So grip it. See how, oh, see, so much nicer once you get them a little wet. Like I said, we took ours right out of the fridge. So, but there you go. I would love to see if you guys make some Jello worms. You can even, you know, make them even more authentic looking worms by adding, like, you know, crushed up Oreos and sticking them on top of there. Look like worms in the dirt. So these are a lot of fun. Again, I believe I used raspberry and orange for these ones. And then I did do 15 drops of the food coloring in this one. And these other ones I did 2 raspberry. And then I only did 12 drops of food coloring. So, I mean, if you want a more realistic, go with a darker and a little more food coloring drops. So if you guys make some of these worms, oh, please take a picture of you eating them or making them. Take a picture of your wormy bowl. That would be awesome. Thanks for joining me, guys.